We begin our report with the kidnapping of 4 Americans in Mexico. 2 of them are safely back on U.S. soil. The other 2 are dead. The victims were found in a rural area east of the northern Mexico border city of Matamoros. The other 2 survivors were returned to the U.S. Tuesday. Mexican officials say one of them was injured. Omar Villafranca is in Brownsville, Texas, with the latest.
2 Americans who survived being caught in a shootout and kidnapped by cartel gunmen were taken to a hospital in Brownsville, Texas today. Mexican authorities found Latavia McGee and Eric Williams at a stash house outside the city of Matamoros after gunmen moved them to multiple locations to avoid capture. It was the end of a road trip for cosmetic surgery. McGee, Williams, along with their close friends Shahid Woodard and Zindell Brown, traveled last week from South Carolina to Matamoros so McGee could have cosmetic surgery. This video shows the moment when they were kidnapped at gunpoint after being caught in a shootout between rival cartel gangs. Here you see McGee being forced into the back of a pickup truck by armed men, with others who appear hurt, also dragged and loaded onto the truck bed. Woodard and Brown were killed. Traveling abroad for medicine and medical procedures is common. More than 1 million Americans traveled to Mexico for health tourism last year, spending about $250 million. 38-year-old Williams, a husband and father, was shot in the leg but is expected to survive. We talked to his wife, Michelle, moments ago from North Carolina. She didn't want to show her face, but says she talked to her husband today.
Did he tell you anything about that moment at all?
No, we didn't discuss it because it was to hear his voice. It was just a lot of crying. My son was there, and my son just wanted to hear his voice. And then he had to go because he was going into the hospital.
CBS News has learned that McGee had been to Mexico before for cosmetic surgery. Investigators are blaming the Gulf Cartel for this incident, and Mexican authorities have also announced that a 24-year-old has been arrested in connection with this attack. John?
Omar, is there any word on the recovery of the deceased victims and bringing them back to the United States?
That's going to be a government process. We're trying to figure out exactly the timetable for it, but when there's deceased in one country, moving it back to the U.S., and obviously there's going to be some machinations involved, that will take some time, but we're expecting it to be soon.
And how are people reacting to this incident on the U.S. side of the border?
Well, some of them aren't really surprised. As a matter of fact, we had a pastor tell us that there are kidnappings, hundreds of kidnappings on the Mexican side all the time, but they're usually Mexican nationals, and it doesn't get the attention of the American media. So it's one of those things where they're aware that it happens, but the people here in Brownsville who cross over into Matamoros, many do it daily. They either work over there or they go eat over there and shop daily. They're not worried about what happened there.
Omar Villafranca in Brownsville, Texas. Thank you, Omar.